So I've been in Munich here for a few days in Germany. I started with Frankfurt a few days ago. Traveling, trading. I want to show you today how I look at the charts and things I look for. A few trades I took, my analysis for being able to trade and travel. Some things I do, I look at the charts only once a day. First I pull daily charts only now. So I'll get used to the step-by-step how this works. I'm going to walk around here and then we'll get to the charts and show you how that works out. So in a video I did a few days ago, I explained how I was taking a 3-month vacation in Europe, traveling around Europe into many countries. We start here with Germany, and we'll get to other places in the future, Austria in a few days, and I will kind of continue that way. But my idea of trading and traveling is I want to make it as much as possible. I have free time in the day. I don't want to be looking at the charts. I've done this many years ago. I was in the day looking at the charts and like placing trades at cafes. And it's all good, but you don't have to do that if you want to do just one trading. So if I can have it the way where I look at the chart once a day, here it's around my 11 p.m. in Europe. It's the daily chart close in New York, so it's 5 p.m. New York time. Then that's all I gotta do. Check the charts once, maybe a few times a day if I want to, really, but I don't have to do it. I have strategies for the daily chart, for weekly charts, which are very hands-off. So that's what we'll get to on the chart right now.
Okay, so this is kind of what I trade. You'll see I have on my chart here some indicators which are all custom coded for things that I need for my trading. But the first thing I want to show you is we've got a setup here that I've entered earlier today, a Bollinger Band Reversal setup, BBR. One of the main things I trade. This is a really good setup for people who want to capture reversals. So this is what I trade the most. I've traded this for many years, since 2016 or so, maybe even 2015. It works really well. Now on LDGPY, the stats are pretty good, so I want to trade that. Keep in mind, I always base my trades off how it performs overall, like my stats behind it. So the cool thing about having indicators, you can always backtest it, especially on TradeView. You can just go back in time and backtest. I always review the trades, make sure the trades taken are not trades I would skip or avoid or whatever. In most cases, they're fine, but there are some trades that I would skip. So I always go back, look at every trade, get my data that way. And data on this is really good. In fact, if I were to just show you here quickly the backtest on this pair, this is all the trades taken for the past, I believe 1 or 2 years, maybe a bit more than that. I've reduced, you can see here on the left side, not all the trades of the backtest have been taken. So I cut off some trades that I wouldn't take, that I would skip because they didn't meet the criteria or the right context. And overall, I'm getting these kinds of results. So for one pair, I think it's pretty good. Again, I'm not looking at a very clear picture here. I'm just basing it simple on 1 hour when I lose. So -1, and then I gain 2 when I win. So I always have a take profit that's 2 to 1. And when I lose, I just lose 1, basically 1 hour, and I win 2 hours on these trades. So it works out pretty well. Again, not amazing performance here, but for one pair, that's pretty acceptable, and it works out quite fine. So getting back to the chart now, here we are on this pair. We've got a very nice trade happening. So I just entered this earlier today. I look at the chart once a day, like I said, and this is kind of how it works. So stop loss below over here. I got my first take profit at 1 to 1, which is over here. And my second take profit happens to be at 2 to 1, like I said. This is based on data. It works out quite well that way. I could, of course, tweak it and adjust it every trade. But to me, from my stats, it's not really worth it. So I prefer to keep it simple. I just leave it like this, and the trade will happen as it happens. Now, I want to make a point here because the key about the backtest and going back in time and getting data is you want to make sure you have the right entry when you go live. Because if you have an entry that's different, your take profit will be off, your stop loss will be off. And that's a mistake a lot of traders make. So on this trade, when I arrived at the chart this morning to place it, this was around, I believe 11 a.m. my time. Price was somewhere around here. Now, of course, I could say, yeah, okay, I'm just gonna jump in, take the trade. Doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter. I'm gonna have a different reward to risk or whatever, or a different stop loss. But I want to stick to my plan here very well, my consistency. So if I see something like this, keep in mind that price will always pull back at some point. Right? If you think price will go and take profit directly, it could, it happens, but it's very rarely the case. Most often price will kind of go and chop a little bit and come back and then go up and come back down a little bit and go up. And that's kind of how your trade will unfold. So if you think you're gonna get your better price, well, you should think again, because often you can get it. Put my entry right here as a limit order. So meaning whatever price that this one or better, I'll take it. And price just came back down on the same candlestick, hit my entry, then I'm in the trade. So that's kind of how it works out. I want to make sure I get the right entry because on a daily chart, a different entry can mean like a few dozens of pips, which is a lot. So I want to make sure I get the right entry here for my trade. Okay, let's talk about something different now. S&P, is not a Bollinger Universal setup, but it's actually more of a trend continuation setup here, which I use the Hall Moving Average for, so HMA. There are 3 indicators in this on TradingView, which worked out fine. I coded my own because I want to have a few rules. I want to have a candlesticks here that I can take trades off, and that's kind of how it goes. So I'm lucky we have a setup here, but I've done a video last week where I go through my first trading week in Europe, so the trades I took. It was a private video. I'll link it below so you can check it out if you want after watching this here. It's a good video to kind of go through these trades in a bit of a better, more extended format. So I'll leave it below. You can just put in your email. I'll send you the video by email directly. But the key thing here is that I took a trade over here. This candlestick right there. As time goes on, I'm moving my stop loss to break even, and actually not break even but closer. So I took partial profit at 1-to-1 on this, which was happening right when I did the video last week. So I'm over here. Now we had a bit of a pullback, and I moved my stop loss to actually here. Not a lot, but I want to respect the lows of this market. We're going up, but we're not going up very fast. We're not very aggressive on this kind of market. On a market like Bitcoin, I'm going to be very aggressive with my stop. But a market like the S&P, this one that we have over here, I'm going to be a lot more careful with my stops. Just because we have pullbacks, it's a more like moderate trend, not very too aggressive here. It's going up, but it's also pulling back sometimes. We want to be more careful here. On Bitcoin, I can be a lot more aggressive with my entries and with my stops, but not on the S&P. Which leads us to a very simple way to make money this past week is Bitcoin. Now, I did take a trade on this today, earlier, and I've kind of been trading this for a while, so I have a few more trades that are happening here. I realize I'm not here all on this chart, but on Bitcoin particularly, I'll usually tweak my Hall Moving Average trading. So my HMA, once again, HMA, 3 indicators in this on TradingView. I made my own because I want to have a bit more customization here. But I usually tweak this to a 9 period. My drawing is horrible here on TradingView on the iPad. But a 9 period HMA. Why? Well, because this trend here is a lot more aggressive, price pulling up a lot faster, and I want to be able to make the most of it and kind of be a bit more aggressive with the entries, like I said. So I'm going to go here. Okay, this is already a 9 HMA on the week. Usually I can even put this on the day now to be more aggressive, and it will look something like this. So a bit more entries here. So you could have entered here, you could have entered somewhere here also, which gives you really good entries and a pretty quick target also. I took another trade over here. Now again, this is not an optimal entry, but we had this drop over here. Told myself that's the right time to enter. Let's go long. I went long. Now it's already a pretty good reward to risk in my favor, which is good. So the way this trade worked is an entry somewhere here after the pullback and stop loss right here. And then I'm targeting actually I'm not having any targets in this trade. It's kind of fun. I'm having a moving target. So I want to have price go above the HMA, which is, I stick to my HMA 9 on the weekly chart here. And I want to have basically price going above the HMA. Then when it's closest below the HMA, then I'll sell. That's the idea here. So for example, if we were to look back in the past, if you were to go long, hypothetically, okay, just example here, you were to go long somewhere over here, go long here, then you wait for price to close below the HMA. He was still going up, still going up, still going up. He was still up, and he was still going up. Okay, we didn't close below, we closed at the HMA, which is fine. We didn't close below. Again, this is a bullish bar, so that's good. Continuing up, continuing up, we didn't close below. So our trade will still be going on, which is kind of cool. If you go back a bit in the past over this market, well, we did close a few times below the HMA. So if you had a long, this would have been a place to exit. And we're kind of more chopping out around here, which is a good place to get out, of course. If we were to go long again somewhere around here, then that would have been, you want to wait for price to go above, then close it over here. And then if you go long here again, then you wait for price to go above, which it didn't really go above too much here, but you might want to kind of close it around here. So this is the idea of how this works out. Is you go on a trade when it's trending, you can have really, really big targets and reward to risk that way. And that's the idea behind this strategy, to have big targets and to kind of ride the trend. So BBR, Bollinger Reversal on AUD/JPY is a lot more about catching these tight reversals that might do 1-to-1, maybe 2-to-1, but that's it. On the S&P when it's trending, it's more about catching these trends. Same thing with Bitcoin, which is easy now to make money with that kind of pair. Now the goal here is not to go all in on Bitcoin. I don't recommend you do that. I recommend you maybe place small orders. For me, it's just like maybe a 1% trade. Put a 1% trade, have a stop loss. Once price gets in your favor, you move your stop loss to closer to your entry or to break even if you can. Then you can add more as price pull back and pull back and pull back in your favor. So pulls back, you add a bit more, move your stop loss to break even again, then pulls back a bit more, or actually goes up, pulls back more, move to break even, maybe take another trade. So that's kind of how you build your size on Bitcoin. You want to be aggressive with your stops. You want to be aggressive with your entries if you can, but not too much. And you go conservative with your reward to risk in that case. Again, I'm not here to pretend I trade Bitcoin like an expert. I just have a very hands-off style of trading, which serves me really well. And you can do the same thing if you want. So that's about it. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. I would love to hear your thoughts on this. If you want to see my recap from my first trading week in Europe, I'll leave it linked below in the description in the comment section so you can check it out. I go through these trades more in detail. I go through other trades I've taken also and kind of shows you how this works out. There was a really good trade happening on USD Norwegian Krona, which I recommend you go watch. It's a really good one to learn and to understand how to trade better if you want. So link below for this. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. If you've taken these trades, let me know below. And I'll catch you back here in the next video pretty soon. Ciao.